Absolutely. Let's see here. It's going to be a best of 5 as well. It's going to be a finals. It's going to be a Giratina up here against a Gastrodon.
Gastrodon's on the field against Giratina. Now, I know Giratina generally has the edge here, but there's perfect opportunity to utilize some fast attacks and get some energy on the board.
This is true. Of course, the charge moves are going to be resisted against that Giratina. Both water as well as the normal typing. It's not going to be great against a Ghost and Dragon, but you're going to see the Dragonfly coming through. How much damage is this going to do?
Alfie lets it come through, does a significant amount to that Gastrodon, but it's farming up lots of energy and banks that for later. Now we are going to see the two rollout Pokemon throwing some stones at each other with the Blastoise and the Dunsparce.
We saw the swap out at the same time from both players. This is such an interesting moment now because neither of them really knew what was going to happen now. But Blastoise in here again. Blastoise was already very, very strong for Inadequance in the last battle that we saw. And here it's going to try to do the same again.
And it can take a lot of these attacks from the Dunsparce reasonably well. The fact that this Blastoise is able to take a few attacks does give it a lot of flexibility and a lot of time to get to those powerful Hydro Cannons. It's actually, I think, with that last rollout, maybe at 2 of them already.
I do think that this is also Inadequance's plan. I think he wants to hit another Hydro Cannon and then try to source the 1-4 afterwards. And as you can see here as well, the Drill Run is not going to be enough to knock out this Blastoise, but is this Hydro Cannon going to be enough? Oh, never mind. It's going to be the Skull Bash trying to boost the defense of this Blastoise.
Just trying to get all the damage on the board it can. The Skull Bash secures the KO and the defense comes in as well. That'll give it a little bit of flexibility against these Astonishers, but it only can hang on for one more of them.
But here we see as well where the defense buff there actually came in clutch. Was able to survive those fast moves and just get to this Hydro Cannon to get quite some significant damage against the Gastrodon.
Blastoise goes down, but now Gastrodon is indeed on the field. It now has to face down against that Corsola that was able to fell the Blastoise previously. Nightshade will come through. Inadequance really holding on to these shields.
Well, of course, against that Corsola here. But as you can see as well, we also see a swap straight away into the Gastrodon. And we're going to have Gastrodon against Gastrodon, and we have also the two different forms of it.
It's the ultimate battle of the Gastrodons out there on the field. The shield goes up on Inadequance's side, not wanting the East Coast variant to fall it. Now we're going to see the Giratina come back into play.
This Water Pulse, while it's resisted, actually still going to do some solid damage though. Like, Water Pulse is not a bad move at all. And also, of course, the same type as the Gastrodon, doing a little bit more there. And as you can see as well, the Giratina is quite low already.
There's so much energy on that Giratina though, but Alfie has 2 shields to utilize as well, so there are 2 possibilities for this Corsola to hang on. However, we know that Ancient Power can sometimes get up to a few tricks.
Absolutely. Do we see the tricks here? We do see the tricks, actually. And this is going to do a little bit more damage now with that Shadow Claw from that Giratina. And now it's down to Gastrodon against that Corsola.
Oh, amazing to be able to see the boost come through, but the Giratina didn't have enough time left to utilize them. It's now going to come down to this Gastrodon facing down against the Corsola. Corsola utilizing that shield on Alfie's side.
And this is going to be it. The Gastrodon is actually going to be able to win this battle here with a Water Pulse. Corsola will go down, and Inadequance is going to be able to secure the first battle here.
Remember, this is winners finals. It's a best of 5, so there's still a long way to go. But the combination, the synergy of Giratina and Gastrodon was able to secure this Game 1 victory.
A lot of Gastrodon action for sure in this first battle there. And yeah, I found it quite interesting because that Gastrodon matchup in the lead there against the Giratina, it's actually really good for that Giratina because the charge moves are all going to be resisted. And so, yeah, I think Giratina is a Pokemon that you mostly going to see quite often here against Alfie's team. The only Pokemon that can really deal with it is, I guess, like the Dunsparce, which can resist the fast move a bit more. But then again, like, basically all of the Pokemon have a bit of a weakness to the Giratina.
I felt for the Dunsparce as well because it found its alignment against that Blastoise and it just wasn't able to really get a lot of damage down, particularly with the Blastoise raising its defenses. It just put Inadequance in such a strong position. I mean, there were boosts galore on there, the Giratina and the Blastoise.
Absolutely, but definitely the Skull Bash play there helped Inadequance out a lot. Getting the Hydro Cannon off against Corsola really helped her to get this Pokemon a little bit lower. And Blastoise shows why it's here. Like, definitely a Pokemon that maybe some trainers kind of underestimated here before.
What I really like is how he's brought it and shown that it's not kind of there to be cool, it's not there to be a gimmick, it's there to actually have a solid role within the team. And I really like the way that it's able to flexibly support maybe the more vulnerable Pokemon like the Giratina.
Absolutely. Like, Blastoise was able to take so many hits there, especially like from the Dunsparce already. Like, the Drill Runs didn't do enough damage to really threaten it at all. 2 Drill Runs were not enough to knock it out, and maybe we're going to see a little bit more action of that Blastoise as well in the next game.
Yes, and if Blastoise is coming, I think on Alfie's side, you're going to need to find a way through it. Maybe something like the Cradilly, having that Grass Knot, it could be a nice way to get some damage onto that water type. But Gastrodon front and center for Inadequance, one of his new favorite Pokemon, up against the Dunsparce.
And we're gonna see the straight swap out again into the Gastrodon. What is happening here? Do we see a Body Slam coming through, or do we see just the Water Pulse? The Water Pulse, of course, going to be the harder hitting move. It's going to get shielded by Gastrodon.
Trainers at home, which Gastrodon are you rooting for? Gastrodon in Inadequance side is going to be able to connect down into the one on Alfie's. That shield was up in play. It can now get all of this energy up against the Blastoise, but it can't really do too much to it.
It really can't do too much to it. Of course, you resist the rollout from the Blastoise, but the Body Slam here is just not really doing a lot of damage against Blastoise. So maybe even you kind of want to try to get out of this matchup again? I'm not too sure.
I feel like both of these Pokemon going for their fast attacks are just there to get lots and lots of energy on the board. Gastrodon maybe trying to capitalize on this, putting it down into the yellow zone with that Body Slam, but now Blastoise is in a position where Gastrodon is vulnerable.
And we're gonna see another Skull Bash, but we're gonna see the shield come up this time around. There's gonna be a lot of energy that's gonna go into this shield.
A lot of energy used, but that defense boost has come into play. But that said, the Mud Slaps are still stacking up. Blastoise has the utility to go for this Hydro Cannon. There are no shields remaining on Alfie's side. Gastrodon has no choice but to take the attack.
I think Gastrodon is still bulky enough to take this attack. Yes, of course. And we're going to see now that there is still the Water Pulse on it. So it's 1 HP here.
It was able to farm it down. The other Gastrodon comes in and Water Pulse is able to be unleashed. This Gastrodon is holding on with everything it's got.
This is doing a lot of damage here, though. And we're going to see... which Pokemon are we going to see, actually? We're going to see the Credillion. We're going to have the Scizor straight away against it. And also, the Dunsparce is not too great with it because we see 2 shields on the Scizor for Inadequance.
Oh, that's the thing. I love the Credillion going down against the Gastrodon, but then Scizor comes in with the bullet punches, and now things are looking a little bit difficult for Alfie. There are no shields on that side of the field. Scizor is going for this Trailblaze. Yes, it does a huge amount of damage, but also gets that attack boost.
This is a guaranteed boost, and it's going to help out so much. And we see already, Alfie is not even going to go for any charge move anymore. He knows that Scizor is going to be too tough to take down, and again, it's a great team call from Inadequance. Being able to keep the Scizor in the back there with those 2 shields was crucial to win this matchup here.
So much energy on Inadequance's side, able to go 2-0 so far in this best of 5. One more game, and Inadequance will be advancing into our grand finals.
Do we see the Togekiss? Togekiss would have some options, at least against that Gastrodon on the Inadequance side, which we saw already twice at this point. I do think it's kind of struggling against most of the other Pokemon here on the team.
I think that's the thing. Yes, it's great against the Gastrodon, but we've seen how devastating that Scizor can be. And if those bullet punches are landing onto the Togekiss, it's going to give it really difficult room to maneuver. Yes, there's Aura Sphere, I guess, but other than that, I don't know what Togekiss is doing.
Yeah, and also in the Blasters again, the rollout is going to do some super effective damage. We're going to have the Hydro Cannon, which is just going to do some neutral damage, but it's going to add up on it. So I'm curious if we're going to see it. I doubt it we're going to see it, even though it's such a cool Pokemon, but I don't know, which Pokemon would you bring if you're Alfie?
I like Alfie's selection. I just think the alignment is what is giving him the disadvantage. The Dunsparce, for example, using that Drill Run into the Giratina would be really, like, it would just be nice to get some damage down. But also, you need to find a way to get through that Scizor, and that's what I'm really struggling with. Maybe Charizard. Charizard could be the play. Let's go Charizard.
Maybe Charizard. Charizard has been the play for a lot of players so far this tournament. But again, I feel like Inadequance team is so unique, it's very tough to prepare for it. Like, they have basically answers against everything. You're going to have here, for example, again, the Blasters, which you saw so many times already. Are you really want to bring a Charizard into that?
I don't think you want to, but if you can get the alignment in play, that could be really, really nice. I mean, with the Dunsparce, I like the way it has the bulk. I like the way it can threaten with, you know, Rock Slide and Drill Run, but the Pokemon that Inadequance are bringing really don't care about that. Maybe bench that Dunsparce and bring Charizard. It's risky, yes, but you are also on the winner's side of the bracket. I
feel like Dunsparce mainly performs well when you have super effective damage with it. Here we're going to see again Gastrodon.
Yes, Gastrodon front and center up against the Blastoise. It looks like Alfie is going for very similar Pokemon from the rest of the set, but Inadequance has shaken things up a bit. Giratina lurking in the back for later as Blastoise steals the show right now with this Hydro Cannon.
This still looks quite well for Alfie here because the fast move of the Gastrodon is adding up onto the best as well. And as you can see as well, you might even be able to take 2 Hydro Cannons. But yeah, again, we don't really have that much pressure with the Body Slams here.
Yeah, Body Slam not going to be doing too much, but maybe it can put it down into the yellow. Just leave it a little bit more vulnerable for later on. Critically as well, there's a decent amount of energy on that Gastrodon, but the same can be said for this Blastoise. Now, I don't know if Gastrodon can take 1 more Hydro Cannon, but do you want to use those precious shields?
We see the no-shit coming through, and the Hydro Cannon is not going to be able to take down the Gastrodon, and we see the Body Slam coming through now. Is it going to be enough to knock out the Blastoise, though?
I think this is going to be close, and the issue is if it's going to be able to get a Mud Slap to follow up, if it's not enough, but it does manage to fell the Titan. That is Blastoise. Now the Giratina comes in, however, gets its revenge. Inadequance not looking too happy, but it has got rid of one of Alfie's Pokemon.
The thing is here, Alfie is going to be able to have perfect alignment. We're still going to see, of course, that Credilli in the back with the super effective acid against that Wigglytuff later. But here, Inadequance is showcasing that the matchup is actually not that bad because we have a lot of damage coming through from the Dragonclaw this season now.
Yes, Dragonclaw has been buffed coming into this, and it is going to be able to whittle away through this opposing Dunsparce. But Dunsparce is able to find its mark, this Drill Run going down into the Giratina.
This is going to do some solid damage here against the Giratina. Another Drill Run might even be enough to knock it out already, but because there's a swap out here as well into that Wigglytuff, and we have the Acid coming in now with the Credilli, and of course we have access to the move Rock Tomb, but also still that Wigglytuff has access to the move Icy Wind, which is going to be super effective against the Credilli.
This is where the shields are going to come into play. Going straight up on Credilli's side, doesn't want to have to take this damage from the Icy Wind, knowing that the Credilli and these acids are so important to deal damage to the opposing Wigglytuff at the same time. The Rock Tombs can come through. Even if a shield's in play, we've seen how important that attack debuff can be.
This is going to be a very, very interesting matchup here because both Pokemon are dropping each other's attacks, so they're going to do less and less damage here. And we see another Rock Tomb coming through, another shield coming up for that Wigglytuff. I'm curious on what Inadequance is going to do here now. Another
one of Inadequance's signature Pokemon in the form of this Wigglytuff, and he's protecting it with all he's got and those shields. Giratina rejoins the fray. Dragonclaw is ready, but Dunsparce gets there first.
That Drill Run is going to be close to being enough to knock it out. I'm not too sure if it's going to be enough though. It's just barely not enough, and we see the Dragonclaw coming through now from Inadequance. I wonder if we're going to see a no-shit here.
That's the thing, where do you want to keep your shield? Possibly on the Credilli in the back. Dragonclaw comes down, but Dunsparce is able to hang on, able to get one more. I don't know if it was even able to connect it. It tried its best, but Credilli in play. Lots of energy now. There are no shields remaining on Inadequance's side, so Credilli has the opportunity to go for this Rock Tomb, fully undercharging it.
And I think this is a very, very smart play by Alfie here, going for the Rock Tomb, securing that we get the KO here, but also he knows there's going to be still the Icy Wind coming through from that Wigglytuff, and we still have a shield in play. Can we get to the Rock Tomb in time? We can, and this is going to be enough to knock out this Wigglytuff, taking the game here for Alfie.
Oh, it was getting so intense on Wigglytuff's side of the field with that energy going up, but the Rock Tomb finds its mark, is able to get the knockout, and Alfie gets some scores on the doors.
This was an amazing battle again. Like, Credilli there at the end. It was perfectly played by Alfie. Keeping it around like this. Also, going for the charge move still against that Giratina was really important there, just to secure that you still have the shield left there, so you don't have to get hit by that Icy Wind.
I liked as well, you know, Inadequance has used this Blastoise so well throughout this set so far. But in this game 3 that we just saw, I feel like Alfie had a good way to try and counter it. The Gastrodon was able to sit there, take the Hydro Cannons really well. I think it took 2 of them in the end there, and just kept chipping away at Blastoise, so it wasn't a threat for the remaining Pokemon.
The lead matchup was really important here for Alfie for sure. Was definitely way better than the 2 matches previously, and the Blastoise still seems to be such a threat though to Alfie's team. Blastoise was super strong still there, but of course against Gaston came on top there, was the Pokemon that was able to win this battle, and let's see on how that's gonna go for the next one. I wonder on how the players are going to adjust here again.
I find it quite interesting that the one match that Inadequance didn't bring the Gastrodon to was the match he's lost so far. So I'm very much expecting to see it come into the next game, if that's the way you want to play it, let's say.
Absolutely, and I'm also curious if we're going to see the Shadow Caesar again there, because I feel like it is quite unlikely to see the Charizard, but then again, maybe you have to take those risks. Like, as Alfie, I don't know, like, you kind of have to predict on what Inadequance is going to do here. We saw already, of course, a Wigglytuff, where also the Charizard would have a lot of play against.
That's the thing, you've got to make sure that if you're taking that risk, the reward is paid off on the opposing side. Blastoise is out once again for Inadequance, really having a lot of faith in this Pokemon coming down against the Corsola.
This is going to be, again, a very neutral matchup. You're going to have a little bit more fast move pressure here with the Astonish from that Galarian Corsola, but the Blastoise is just going to be able to get to those Hydro Cannons away faster, and Hydro Cannon is just doing so much damage.
Hydro Cannon can be relentless. Corsola able to soak that up though, has lots of energy of its own on the board, and can now retaliate with this Night Slash. Inadequance knows that the Blastoise can take one of these, but you want to make sure that once again, your Blastoise doesn't get lost early on.
This is going to be very interesting. There's another Hydro Cannon already stored, and the Nightshade is going to be there as well, but we're going to see the extra fast move here for Alfie. Do you see a shield here? I think it can still take another hit.
I think it can take one more, but it looks like there's almost a second Hydro Cannon ready to go on that Blastoise. Just one more rollout needed to secure it. If you want to use it though, you need to shield against this Night Slash. Inadequance maybe trying to decide whether shields are better utilized on this shadow Pokemon he's got lurking in the back. Blastoise goes down, and now it's going to be all out on the offensive for Inadequance.
We got to see here the Giratina coming in, and the swap straight away into the Gaston. And I think this is actually really good for Alfie, because you're still going to have the Charizard in the back. And while, yes, the charge moves are going to be resisted here, this is still a very solid matchup for Alfie. The fast move is going to do a lot of damage, so much that are just hurting that Giratina quite a bit.
This is the thing, if Gastrodon can contend with this Giratina and Parv open a victory for the Charizard, then when Scissor joins the field, Charizard's going to have a field day. But it's still a bit of an uphill climb for Gastrodon. It isn't able to land that Water Pulse, but critically gets a shield away from Inadequance.
This shield is actually going to be quite smart from Inadequance. I think you kind of need to keep the health on that Giratina. Now we see the no shield. It's going to be just a double resisted body slam from the Gastrodon.
Just in the nick of time here, you weren't able to get to the Water Pulse in time before you go down, but at least this way it was a little bit more chip on Giratina. Now if you are that Corsola, you can always start going for the Astonish, but the Giratina has the Shadow Claw. That's going to be devastating.
It's going to be interesting. Do we see the Charizard coming in? Yes, but we have the Ancient Power already stored, and we're close to another one as well on that Giratina. But of course, at this point, the Charizard is the only Pokemon that Alfie can rely on. It's the only Pokemon with a lot of HP left. There's still, of course, that Corsola, but Corsola is really, really low. And we see the next Ancient Power coming through as well. We're going to have another shield coming up here for sure.
Alfie's got to use those shields back to back. They're both gone. Inadequance has removed them from play, but Charizard has been able to use this opening to get some energy up on the board. And there is the Scissor. The critical thing, though, is there's still one shield on Inadequance's side. And if on this Shadow Charizard the Ember cannot put in the work, then Scissor's going to be able to claim the game.
We're going to have here the Air Cut coming in. Do we get the boost here? This might be crucial for this matchup. We don't see the boost, and we also see the Composure on the Inadequance side, and I'm fairly certain that Scissor is going to be able to get the move off here. And yes, there is going to be the Night Surge. Is this going to be enough to knock out the Shadow Charizard?
Is Inadequance going to be able to advance into our grand finals here at the Frankfurt Regional Championships? Yes, he is! Our first finalist, Inadequance!
That was so well played. This Scissor was so strong there at the end. But also, I really enjoyed the Charizard play there. I think it was the right choice to bring this Pokemon at the end of the day. Actually, the Pokemon which really sealed the game there was that Giratina from Inadequance. The signature Pokemon coming in clutch here again, putting him into the grand finals.
I mean, that's one of the beautiful things that you get to see about Pokemon. This is a Pokemon that Inadequance has trusted time and time again, and it has never let him down, and today is no different.